and welcome to another episode of Now We're Talking. I'm Scott.
I'm Julie.
And thanks for joining us again. As we mentioned at the last episode, we were going to be off for a little bit for a trip to Vegas, and I think we're going to spend some time talking about that. That sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I think our episode today is largely going to be about our trip and our concert.
Yeah, so we won't take you through blow by blow, but try to hit some of the highlights. We went out there on last Friday, and we had the first night we were there, we had a great dinner. Julie and I are both, I guess you would say, pretty unadventurous when it comes to food.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so...
sheltered, maybe.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was very, hesitant to go to that dinner. So it was at a Japanese sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fish eater in any sense of the word. And so the thought of eating raw fish and whatever else they might have just really did not appeal to me.
Yeah, I mean the name of the restaurant was Wakuda. We should give them props.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so we went, there were 13 of us?
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because, there was a bunch of us that flew from various parts across the country to go there. But Julie's daughter, Shanna, had a friend that, she hadn't seen in
30 plus years.
30 years, yeah. And, but she knew that she lived in Vegas. So the night before or 2 nights before, she called her.
The night before, sent a text message, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in Facebook, and said, we're going to be in Vegas. I think you live there. Why don't we try to hook up? And Natalie was like, oh my God, yes. And it just worked out. She came. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, that was, just, I don't know. I just thought it was a really cool thing to catch up with somebody, and they fell right into it.
Sure. Yeah. It was like best friends do. You really don't miss a beat. You can go for long periods of time and not talk, and then the first time you see each other, it's just like you never have been apart the whole time. It was really beautiful.
Right. Yeah. And so ultimately, the dinner itself was really good, and
delicious.
We both had raw fish for the first time.
Right.
I think you liked the salmon.
I loved the salmon. So good. Of course, I'm already a salmon fan anyway, if you've listened to previous episodes, but this was a cut above any salmon I've had before.
And I liked what was it called? It was a tuna belly.
Oh.
I forget what they called it. I thought that was really good.
Yeah. The lobster was also delicious.
I had lobster for the first time in my life.
Oh my God.
And it was really good. It was, what do they call that? The frying thing. Tempura. It was tempura battered. So it's that really light batter that the Japanese style. So it was really good, and I mean it was great. They did what they called a tasting menu, and they just brought out dish after dish after dish.
Right.
Of I don't know. Out of the 12 dishes, I think 11 of them were fish.
Yeah.
There was that one that was the chicken. They were basically chicken wings. They were
oh yeah, did I eat? I don't know if I ate a chicken wing.
I had a couple of those. They were really good.
Anyway, it was really delicious. And the presentation was just, a cut above anything I've ever experienced. It was just a wonderful, wonderful night.
Yeah, yeah. So that was at what was it called?
Wakuda.
Wakuda, and that's in the
Venetian.
In the Venetian.
Yeah.
Right. I guess all the places we ate at were in the Venetian.
Venetian's done a good job of making sure you don't have any reason to leave their hotel in casino. There's everything in the world that you could ever want inside those 4 walls.
Yeah. Well,
or 8 walls. Or
85 walls.
Whatever it is. But
yeah, you're right. I mean, and then if you include the Palazzo in it too, because they're connected. Right. I mean, you really, like you said, you really don't need to go out. Doors.
We were there 4 days, and we only went out once, and that was to a mall across the street.
Oh, right. Well, I went out for get some exercise in the morning.
Okay, well I didn't. Yeah. So anyway, but otherwise you could just stay in there the whole time. You'd be just fine.
So that was just outstanding. That was our first night of of delicious food. I mean, I will say that all 3 dinners that we had there were just exceptional.
Yeah. And the accommodations were nice too. The room is really clean, and we got a choice of whether or not we wanted to look at the Sphere or the Strip, and we, having not seen the Sphere before, opted for the Sphere, and I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
We had got some great pictures of that. So if you haven't seen the Sphere, even from the outside, do yourself a favor and go, because it's just a phenomenal experience watching. So the technology that makes up the Sphere is just incredible to watch, and from the inside is one thing, but from the outside is just another thing too. So really enjoyed our view and got so many good pictures, but the whole thing was just great.
Yeah, so I guess we can, the next day, and again, we'll kind of breeze through some of this. Saturday we spent at a cabana by the pool at the Venetian, watching football and eating and drinking and whatnot. And then we went to another nice dinner at the French restaurant in the Venetian. Do you remember what that was called?
I don't, but I'll get it for you.
Okay.
This is us being unprepared. Bouchon,
right?
Yeah.
And there we kind of had a limited menu to choose from, which I don't really. I guess maybe it's because of the size of the party, because we didn't order off of the regular menu.
Right.
We only had a few options.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe
I don't know how they do it. Maybe they just do that.
Yeah, I don't know why that was. And the food there was good. So again, going down the adventurous route, I had beef tartare for the first time.
Oh,
and you had some. You tried that too.
I just took one bite. Yeah.
And that was good. I enjoyed that.
I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is really.
It's so weird. But it was a lot of food too, though. I didn't even finish that. And
remember the cheeseburger.
Yeah, it really was. It was just like a burger patty on the plate, with like some radishes and stuff, and of course toast with it, and then that bread that they put out on the table was really good too.
Yeah.
And so you just ate. And then so after dinner was the Eagles concert,
right?
And we'll talk about that. But the one thing that I was kind of not disappointed in, everything was fine. But there's a couple things that bothered me. Not really bothered me. That's too harsh. That's too harsh. I don't mean to be that way. One, and this has nothing to do with the Sphere or with anything else. I hate the fact that you don't get tickets anymore.
Oh, paper tickets.
That you don't get paper tickets. We've got those books on our shelf there that have the tickets from all the concerts. Yeah. That and I just wish that we had that. Like it just bothers me. I'm like, I don't. I know, like I said.
I don't know. What do people save nowadays?
I don't know, man. The things from your Apple Wallet. I mean, I don't know.
We could take a screenshot of that.
We don't even have that because they were all on Shanna's phone.
Oh, that's right.
So we don't even have. We wouldn't even have that. But but I don't know. It's like I said. It's just one of those things, and it has nothing to do with the Sphere. Like I said, I don't know. Most of the concerts that we've been to lately, it's been the same way. We don't have that paper ticket. And that's just the old in me, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But it is a kind of a nostalgia thing too.
Yeah.
To look back at it someday.
Right. Yeah.
And
and the other thing is, and we're gonna rectify this when we go back in December. When we go back to Vegas in December, is that and if you ever get a chance to go to the Sphere, they'll tell you to go early because like they've got stuff at the Sphere to experience. They have like these different robots that you can interact with and stuff. And so like I kind of wish we'd had time to do that. Like I said, we're going to fix that. Yeah. So that's cool. We're going to get another opportunity to go there.
Yeah.
Not for a concert, but we'll do that experience and then see that Orlovsky film, the Postcards from Earth, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got there in I don't know about 15, 20 minutes before the concert started.
Yeah.
We're at our seats about 20 minutes before the concert started. Just enough time to sort of look around,
get acclimated, and take some pictures and the pianos and everything. It was just so cool. I thought maybe now is a good time to sort of talk about my connection to the Eagles. When I was married, the first time to my husband, Dennis. We got married in 1976 and went to a concert in August at Mile High Stadium to see the Eagles, and it was Linda Ronstadt, Andrew Gold, and Pure Prairie League. And I was pregnant. I was about 3 months pregnant, I think, and so sick. I was very nauseous the whole time, and we were poor, so we had nosebleed section seats. And I thought we'd never get to our seat, but finally got up there and settled, and it was a great concert and one of the best memories I have. And so to now, fast forward, being able to hear the Eagles with my kids standing next to me is always one of those full circle kind of moments. And we got to do that in Nashville too, when she and Will came out and we got to go. They treated us to very close front row tickets to, what I'm saying is very close to the front. We didn't have front row tickets, but they were good tickets in Nashville. So we got to see them then. And at that point I thought, I'll never get to see them again. This is going to be the epitome of my Eagles experience. And then when Shanna found out they were playing at the Sphere, she sent me a text message and said, Eagles are going to be at the Sphere. I think tickets go on sale tomorrow. She was somewhere else at a golf tournament or something. And she said, get online and see what you can figure out. We got to go. So we did. And here we are. And it was, again, to be able to sit next to her and listen and watch the Eagles. It was just, it was just such a great moment for me because I'm with the two people I love most in the whole wide world, listening to great music in a facility that is just beyond anything I would have ever imagined. So it was really just an experience I'll never forget.
Well, so what was so great about it? You're talking about the Sphere?
Being there with Shanna and hearing the Eagles.
No, I know, but what made, tell our listeners what made that concert different than other concerts you've been to?
Well, because it was the Eagles. I did already, because it was the Eagles, and I was pregnant with her when
the Sphere.
At the Sphere. I don't know what you're trying to say.
What made the concert being at the Sphere different than other concerts that you've been to?
Well, it was the technology around it. Sitting inside that little globe, you feel like you're inside of one of those little ice globes, at Christmas time. A snow globe. There's no snow, but there could be, I guess. There were doves and everything else.
I know. I'm saying, paint a picture.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell us what.
So you're inside this little globe, and you, no matter where you sit, the sound is phenomenal. So although we were, I think, on the 11th row, people who were way up in the back still had the same sound experience we did because they have stereo speakers in the seats and on the walls or some. I don't know what the technology is exactly, but it sounds phenomenal no where you are. The vision that you see on the screen is wonderful no matter where you are. And so the technology that, all those millions of little pixels that are put together as the music plays is just, it immerses you, and it just, it's just a different experience.
I thought a couple of things that come to mind. There were a couple of, and I think my favorite, it's not my favorite Eagles / Joe Walsh song. But In the City was, from a visual and musical experience, I thought was like the best part of the show.
I thought so too.
So the way it starts, you just kind of, we should, if you haven't been to the Sphere, like I describe it as IMAX on steroids.
Right.
So it's if you've ever been to an IMAX theater, it's even more immersive and more surrounding you than that is. And so when they play in the city, you are at a sort of if you think of like a Brooklyn, apartment buildings, like the fire escapes, the laundry,
kind of row house,
but apartments, there's laundry hanging and that's kind of waving in the wind a little bit and stuff. And then it's all like there were no, if I remember right, there weren't like really any other lighting. And so it was just this backdrop of these apartment buildings. And then the apartment buildings start to grow.
Yeah.
Like they just go up and up and up.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, wow, it looks like the stage is floating up.
Right.
And then you kind of look a little bit, and then you feel like, no, wait, it feels like we're all, like the whole place is floating up.
Yeah.
As these buildings go up and they get like above you and they're kind of like curving in with the curvature of the sphere itself. And then there's just a little hole there.
Right.
And it's just, it's just towering above you. And then like,
and when you look up, all you see is like sky.
Yeah, you just see a hole of the sky. And,
yeah.
And it's, and then all of a sudden, like you feel like you're going up.
Yeah.
And so then like you end up going all the way up to the top of these buildings and out through that hole.
Yeah.
And then there's just like
all these
green pastures and then lakes and, and it's just like, and like, I personally love when bands don't just play the same song that's on the record.
Yeah.
Like I like live versions of songs, and they just at the end of that song, like Joe Walsh, it's got to be certifiable.
Yeah.
The dude is crazy, but he is so good. He's such a great guitarist, and you've got like 4 other guitar players and a bassist and keyboards, and everybody's just jamming out, and it's so good. It's just such an experience. It was like I said, not my favorite song. I like it, but not my favorite, but it just it was so good.
And oddly enough, it was the only song that I videoed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I kept being torn from, I want to turn my phone off so I can just enjoy this, offset with, I want to be able to remember this for years and I want to record it. So I just kept recording it. And I'm so glad I did because I've watched it like 17 times since I've been home.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I was just blown away by it. So it really is an experience. And just, I know, like, I kind of wish we had been able to see U2 when they were there. And I know that the current iteration of the Grateful Dead was there and Phish was there. I would love to go back and see another concert there. I mean, like I said, we're going to go and as of now, the only thing on the schedule is that movie, which will be fine. But I would love to see another show there. It really is an immersive experience. And there's and maybe we'll link to it if I can find it. There's a YouTube video that I watched that talks about how the Sphere was built and all of the technology that goes behind it. And even Don Henley at one point when he was talking said that there were like 163,000 speakers.
Oh, wow.
And the way that they're, you talked about wherever you sat, you had great sound. And it's because these speakers are sending the same things to different parts of the room.
The arena or whatever.
And so everybody's getting the same thing to that, like beamed directly to your seat, really. So it's kind of cool. And some of the seats, and maybe when we go back, that we'll get to sit in the seats that are like haptic, that like vibrate and stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be something to look forward to. But it really is an experience.
It really is.
And I just can't recommend it enough for people to go and see something there.
I assume that every Sphere experience is going to be phenomenal, but I'm glad that this one's my first, and I don't think anything will ever top it. I don't think I'll ever see another concert that will top this. I just don't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was cool. One thing I was looking up while you were talking, you had mentioned that Pure Prairie League was one of the bands.
Yeah.
Well, Vince Gill was at one point in Pure Prairie League. It wasn't in the. I don't think he was in there in 1976.
Probably
not. Yeah, he was part of that band, and so of course, for you listeners, Vince Gill is part of the Eagles now,
right?
Or at least he tours with them. Right. Well, I guess that's all they do anyway. But so that was one of the things that I thought was cool. We saw him; he played with them here when we saw him in Nashville, but I don't remember him playing the whole concert with them.
Oh, he did.
Did he? I felt like he just came out for about 4 or 5 songs. But
no, I think he was good.
I do remember he was wearing a Predators jersey.
Right.
And then, of course, I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of sad and kind of cool that, Glenn Frey is no longer with us. So his son, Deacon, is part of the band now.
Yeah. Did you ever notice he only sings with his eyes closed?
No, I didn't notice that.
And I, since I got home, kind of thought about that and looked it up, and all the pictures of him singing, his eyes are closed.
Oh, I wonder why.
He sings with his eyes closed. I don't know. I don't. Maybe he just gets, in his head, and he just doesn't want to look at the crowd and everything because it distracts him. Maybe, I don't know.
That's interesting.
It's sweet though. I'd like to think he's channeling his daddy.
Yeah, and I always wonder about that. And I always talked about that, like if you're Deacon Frey or you're Wolf. What's the name? Wolfgang Van Halen.
Yeah,
Wolfie.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how that is playing your dad's songs.
Yeah.
Like if it was hard at first and it gets easier, or if it's
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, anyway, so that was our concert. I mean, we could probably go on for hours.
Yeah, we could.
Just talking about.
So we'll get to the little known fact there.
Oh, that's right. You got a little known fact there.
Yeah, and it's also Eagles based.
All right, go ahead.
So one of the songs they played. Well, let me back up. Life in the Fast Lane was inspired by a conversation between Glenn Frey and his drug dealer while they were flying down the highway in a Corvette. And Frey was kind of holding on and looking at the guy who was driving. He was riding shotgun, and he looked at the driver and said, "Holding, big time." And the driver looked at him and said, "Life in the Fast Lane." And he said, "Damn, that's a good name for a song." And that's how it came to be. And it's one of the songs that they played, and one of the I got a short video clip of that one, and then a really great picture. And the video that they showed in the Sphere was actually a Corvette driving down Las Vegas roads. You could see
right down
casinos,
the street.
On the side. So it's very apropos, I thought.
Interesting.
I'm glad they got that right. So anyway.
Okay, so that was our Saturday night, and then Sunday was football day in America, and so we hung out on a couch at the sports book in the Venetian, and watched both of our teams win. And I was I put bets down on our teams. That and of course they both hit because my team won and they were road underdogs, and your team covered, so both teams won. So we got that going for us. But I am brave but not stupid, so I didn't put a whole lot down. So we cashed in those, and I just kind of funny what I had to take our major award over. Because he was going for a car ride on the speedway there, and so on the way back I stopped and played quick slot machine, and just played it once and won $200. But then after watching the football, I stopped at a roulette table, and the casino giveth and the casino taketh away. So I lost all the house. I lost the house money that I won playing roulette, but I did keep the money I won from betting on our football teams.
Yeah.
And so and then we just kind of did a little bit of shopping, and then went to another nice dinner at Smith & Wollensky.
Yeah.
Where we ate meat.
It's a good protein.
Lots of protein.
There was a swinging tomahawk involved.
That's right. Whatever that was, like 66 ounces of, of course the bone is probably half of that.
Yeah.
But
again, that presentation was pretty cool where they melt the bone marrow.
Right, onto the potatoes.
Yeah, it will down the bone into the meat, and then they get it on the potatoes.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
The food there, of course, was really good. And, one of the other things, too, is that the service at all three of these dinners was just outstanding, too.
Really good. Yeah, they know what they're doing. It's like they've done it before.
Yeah, definitely. So it was good. We had good meals. We had a great concert. We had, good day of watching football. I was exhausted.
I was too. I came home, as you know, and I slept for like 16 hours. I was just dead.
Because I am an early to bed, early to rise type of person, and we were eating dinners when I would have normally been in bed.
Yeah, right.
And just being out there for a few days, you have a hard time. Like I had a hard time sort of adjusting, not to the time difference, the time zone, because that's not that big a deal, but to a little bit to that, but then also to the late nights. And so there was a lot of getting to bed at midnight or later and getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Well, you did. I didn't.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So it was pretty exhausting, but it was a lot of fun. And it's kind of funny because, the last time we went to Vegas, I didn't gamble at all. And this time, barely. And, the bulk of it was with house money.
Yeah.
Which is always the best way to gamble.
Right.
When it's not your money.
Right.
There's just like Vegas has changed so much from like this, like the 80s and 90s and stuff when it was just the casinos and, some sort of probably I would imagine like just glitzy shows without a lot.
Yeah.
To becoming like a place where you can actually take your family.
Yeah.
And there's so much to do.
Yeah.
It's whether it's, they put that big Ferris wheel up and of course the Sphere right. And there's,
I think the Sphere probably draws a lot of people to Vegas now.
And there's those zip lines and, there's just all kinds of shows and there's kids stuff to do and stuff. I know one of my coworkers was going out there. She was going to Vegas and like the Grand Canyon and stuff. And, she said, like, is there like, what can I do with my kids? And I was like, oh my God, there's so much to do. Like if you just, there's so many shows that you can go to. There's, shopping and like I said, like the Ferris wheel and the Sphere and all that kind of stuff. And, you just don't let your kids take any like thing that anybody hands out to them.
Yeah, don't look at the pamphlets that they're going to take on the street
at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's really, and I told you this, like after the first morning that we were there, I was like, Vegas has surpassed New York City as the city that never sleeps.
Right.
I mean, at all times.
Yeah.
There's something going on. And
marijuana's legal there.
Marijuana's legal there. So I got high running through clouds of marijuana smoke on my run in the morning. But I just think that like I was coming back from a run and walking through the casino, and there are people there gambling and stuff. It's like,
oh sure,
and I thought about it. I was like, I guess it seems kind of weird to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and go down and gamble. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of people work at night.
But people work at nights.
Yeah.
People that, not everybody's even from the United States.
Right.
They could be like their clock could be messed up and for them it's, it could be noon.
Right.
And they're just like their body clock is not in sync yet. And so they're just up. They're like, well, I'm up. I might as well go.
Well, there's no clock in the place,
Right. There's no,
so
right.
They don't want you to know what time it is.
Famously, casinos don't have clocks or windows.
Right.
So,
they might not have known what time it was.
What's that?
They might not have known what time it was.
Yeah, that's true too. I remember the first time I went to Vegas, the last night that we were there, and then we had a red eye coming home, and I was just like, well, I'm just going to stay up all night and then go through the day, and then I'll sleep on the plane. And so I did. I gambled until like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I stayed up all night the last night too, because I thought I'd lost like $800. I couldn't figure out where it was. I was afraid to say anything, so I just kind of laid there. Anyway,
so it was a great trip. It really was. It was a lot of fun. The kind of the last thing that I just wanted to talk about, and I'm always kind of mystified by this, is and if you don't know, you'll never find like an Eagles song on YouTube. Like, I don't know, maybe they have official Eagles YouTube channel.
No,
maybe, but outside of that, you won't find it. You won't find it used in somebody else's YouTube video. You won't find it on people's podcasts.
Right.
We're not going to use it here. It's because, and I've heard that it's Don Henley. It could be him, could be their management. I'm not sure. But they will not allow it to be used. And if you put it in your podcast, you put it on your YouTube channel, you'll get taken down.
They will find you.
They will come. They will find you. They must have people or AI bots or something at this point, right? It probably 5 years ago it was people.
And listening.
And or searching. And so you won't find it. And I just it kind of mystifies me. I'd kind of like to know the reason for that. On one hand, I get it. You keep control over your art.
Right.
And it doesn't get associated with something that is negative.
Right.
Right. So you just have that blanket statement. We're just not going to allow anything. Right. Because, we were talking about, I was watching a video earlier from Rick Beato, who's a pretty famous YouTuber. He's a musician. And he does a lot of lists. He'll do this are the greatest songs, the greatest piano introductions to songs, or this is the greatest bass lines in songs, or stuff like that. And he'll either play it, he'll play a clip, or he'll actually play it because he's a multi-instrumentalist. He'll play it, he'll play the guitar, play it on the guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
He does a lot of, one of his series he does what makes this song great, and he'll just break down the song and talk about the lyrics, talk about the the different instruments, and he can't do that with an Eagles song. He can't take Hotel California or Life in the Fast Lane or something. What makes this song great, because it would just get taken down.
Yeah.
And he can't include it in his list of greatest intros of all time.
Yeah.
Because it would just get taken down.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe they've said we just don't want to be we just don't want to
control it.
We don't want it. We don't want it to be associated with something negative. So we're just gonna say no to everything.
Right.
So that even the positive stuff, we're just not gonna.
Yeah.
But then the other part of me says you guys are you're old and you haven't had a new album in a long time. There are generations of people who aren't familiar with your work. They may know Hotel, but I mean, look, Gen Z doesn't know the Eagles. They're not listening to classic rock radio where they might hear it, right? And so, are you limiting your exposure to younger people that might like it because you're not going to be found on YouTube?
Yeah.
You're not going to be on podcasts. People aren't going to use your music as outro music or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in some ways I think originally when I heard all that, I wondered if it was just a monetary thing. They were just trying to make sure they had control of the money that flowed around it. But, one of the albums, their greatest hits album, they didn't really even want to release until they released Hotel California, even though they knew it would make them a lot of money. So I don't really think it's about money for them. And as it turned out, they went ahead and released it because their record label said, yeah, we really need you to go ahead and put this greatest hits album out. And it turned out to be the number won the top-selling album in the 20th century until Michael Jackson died, and his Thriller album topped it. But I don't think it's about money for them. I think it's really just about control. And I kind of get it. And I get your point that some people are probably not hearing it because of that. But those children's parents and grandparents are doing them a real disservice by not playing it. I can't imagine Shannon, and I know Nick and Wyatt listen to it. They love Seven Bridges Road, and I'm sure that someday my great-grandchild is going to hear it. So I don't know. I just, it's incumbent on all of us to sort of pass down the good music. So
it still is the number 3 selling album of all time, their greatest hits. It has sold 42 million copies.
I think I read somewhere Eagles overall have sold over 200 million records.
Right, because let's see, this list isn't numbered, so 3, 6, 9. If I've got the numbers right, the 12th best-selling album of all time is Hotel California with another 32 million copies. So just between those two albums, that's let's see. I don't know how it would round, but we'll say it's about 74, 75 million copies just for those two albums.
Yeah.
So, of course, Michael Jackson, like you said, Thriller is the number 1 with 51 million, and then Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, is number 2 with 45 million. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You can't always count on your parents to teach you the right music.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I'd be curious to know what the reasoning is behind it. But I think it's kind of a shame that, like there's all, and we're about to wrap up, but I will, I love watching reaction videos, especially for Rush, when I see like these people, there's a pretty somewhat well-known vocalist, opera singer, I guess she is, who does these reaction videos, and she talks about and it's like they're hearing Tom Sawyer for the first time, or somebody hearing Yes's Roundabout for the first time, or something like that. Just watching people's reaction and then talking about it. And there could be Eagles reaction videos, hearing Hotel California for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And just like I said, like introducing that to people that wouldn't necessarily know it, or maybe their parents didn't actually, there are kids, there are kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old whose parents, their parents, like, I'd be like with your grandkids, like if Shanna didn't listen to the Eagles, right? Nick and Wyatt wouldn't know might not necessarily know who they are, but they probably spend a lot of time on YouTube. They might be able to find them from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just, like I said, I'd be curious to know what the reasoning is behind it. Whether it's I'd heard it was Don Henley who put the kibosh on it, but I don't know that to be true. So I'm not gonna.
Well, there's a lot of Don Henley haters out there, so he might be just getting a bad rap, but.
Yeah, which I don't get.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get into it, but I don't care. They play such an important role in my adult life. Don't hit me with that. Oh, Don Henley bullshit. I just don't.
I will also say that just on a quick tangent, the Atari's version of Boys of Summer is probably one of my favorite covers of all time.
Oh,
I love that cover.
Okay.
But anyway. Okay.
So we're done?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're sorry if we bored you too much with the Eagles, but listen, if you guys have a chance to go to the Eagles, you don't have to sit on the 11th row. Get tickets for the way back version. I think they've expanded their stay.
Yeah, they have added some dates on.
So if you can make it, do it. You won't be disappointed. It was just an epic concert. So That's my take.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Please rate, review us wherever you get your podcast so others can join in the fun. We'll see you next week. Music is today not by the Eagles because I don't want our little podcast to get taken down. But it is by London Bailey, and we'll talk to you soon.